Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Burning Hits Fantasy Football, and we are going over last week's semifinal and into the finals. We got Lestrange versus Nick P, and then me and Hinty facing off for the number one choice of pick. So, in last week for the semifinals, I'll pull it up right here. We had Bleedus, which I guess is Lestrange's new name, or was his name, taking over Snowball quite handily, and then also Nick P just dominating on Chris Gregg. Just crazy point outputs from both of them.
Yeah.
And then I squeaked out a win against Tony. I was a little nervous for a second there with Dallas just dominating, and then Hinty put up some big old points against Kuzi.
Oh yeah. That Justin Jackson play played off for me.
Justin Jackson, yeah, you guys touches finally, man. But didn't go too well for his team. Interesting. But so how about we just get right into it? You want to start with our game and we'll finish with the
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. Let's go over our game quick. So we've got me versus you. So what do you like about either team? You can go either way.
I'll start with my team and then I'll touch on your team. I love that I finally get to play Trey Lance after holding him all year. I think Houston's a great matchup for it. Just because Houston's not gonna he's a rookie, so he's gonna make mistakes, but he's still gonna be able to move the ball, be around the end zone, which gives him a ton of chances for points. Montgomery, great play. Chargers, as you saw with Rex Burkhead, do not stop the run. So Williams is a great play. I don't love Lazard anymore, but waiver wires are so thin, it's impossible to do anything. And then Brown and Kittle should have great weeks. And Vaughn, the Jets gave up two top 24 running backs to Houston earlier this year. So I think that Keyshawn Vaughn should be able to sneak in and give me a sneaky good week. On your team, it's really scary, but you also have some great plays. I don't like Joe Burrow. It's hard to say this, but I don't like Joe Burrow after the week that he threw for 504, four or something.
Yeah.
But Kansas City's not. They've given up one top 12 quarterback performance in the last 8 weeks, I think, and that was to the Chargers whenever Chris Jones was out. So, and then Kamara's scary after his last week, especially playing Carolina. But and then that Cleveland Pittsburgh game is going to be a disaster. McLaurin's scary because he's been struggling. I'm feeling pretty hopeful coming into this week. I will say Knox against Atlanta could come away with a 2-touchdown game. And if Edmonds gets all the work, he could have a pretty big game also.
Yeah.
Also, you have a lot of big names on your team that could also just have great games also. And we were talking on your bench, you have Sony Michel, and I imagine he'll find a way into your lineup.
Yeah, I was
And I think he'll have a great week.
throwing Michelle in for a little bit and then back and forth. My worry with Michelle is that, playing against Baltimore and seeing what Cincinnati did and Green Bay, they just didn't run the ball that much because Baltimore's pass defense is just so bad there, so they're just taking advantage of that. So that is my worry, but I'll probably just play him just because it's just so obvious. They only gave Henderson one carry last week, so it's hard
Yeah.
not to give Michelle the go.
Well, Henderson's on IR now, and so the backup is Akers. And even if Akers is active, I can't imagine them giving him more than 4 or 5 touches after the Achilles injury. The reason why they activated him actually is because you have to be active for 3 games of the season to get your paycheck. So they activated him so that he could get paid.
That's brutal. Yeah, I'm deciding whether it's honestly my 3 receivers I'm all sort of on the fence with. Johnson's just the most reliable, even though he played pretty terrible last week. He put up some good points. He had that ridiculous fumble. But
Yeah.
McLaurin's been struggling. Mike Williams has always been boom or bust, but was very boom early in the year. But now it's, a little bit less. But I feel like it's tough against Denver, but it's such a must win for the Chargers that maybe they'll be like a little bit more desperate and try to get in the ball more. Um, Knox is I'm happy with Knox, but my two running backs I'm really happy with. If Connor's out against Dallas, I'm really gonna love Edmonds. But I
Mhm.
agree with the Burrow idea of Kansas City. Like every single time you see these matchups where it's like these two offenses that are like pretty high flying, you think it's gonna be a shootout, and it ends up just being a slugfest. It's happening against Dallas, and I think it's probably gonna happen. But I don't have. I think Fields is still out. Um,
Yeah,
I think
Fields
I'm
is
just gonna
still
ride
out.
with Burrow, and hopefully maybe we finally get the shootout that we've been waiting for. And Lance is a little bit of Lance could score big, but Houston somehow played out of their minds last week. You never know. I don't
Well,
really want
I
to play like
mean,
that, to be honest, because
that
that'll be a lot of
that
points.
was also like the Chargers were missing, I think, two offensive linemen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
They had
no
a ton
Joey
of issues.
Bosa, no D. They lost their top D tackle, so they just got ran all over. Um, but it's a rookie, so maybe someone else gets, maybe Debo Samuel gets the rushing touchdown. So that's kind of like
Yeah.
the prayer. I don't know what they did with Javonte Williams last week, um, but I can't imagine they're going to do it again against the Chargers. Just gotta hope that Keyshawn Vaughn or Lazard doesn't play too well, and then my guys go well. But it's going to be a pretty even matchup, I think. The one thing that like
Yeah,
could give
I
you a
agree.
big edge is the defenses. I mean, not that the Giants is anything. Giants look terrible, but New England
Yeah,
versus
no,
Jacksonville off two losses.
I think the Bears will give me like a good baseline. I don't think they're going to give me like an amazing game, but New England could very easily have a two touchdown game
Yeah,
by their
with
defense.
I mean Lawrence gave up almost a touchdown against the Jets, so you never
Yeah.
know. I mean, I'm gonna side with myself. I think you're gonna have confidence in yourself, right?
Yep. I'm going to have confidence in myself.
If we can get to the real deal here with Lestrange and Nick P, who's put up one of like the craziest performances in terms of just dealing with injuries on every part of his team. So, what do you like and dislike about this matchup?
Well, I would like to start off by saying if Lestrange wins this, he'll actually win both of the leagues, the keeper and the dynasty league. So let's go Nick P to start. But outside that and looking at the actual roster, James Conner is a question mark this week, so it'll be interesting to see uh, what he pivots there. It looks like he has Foreman, Boston Scott, Jordan Howard. He has a ton of options there. Because I have a feeling Connor's going to end up not playing. And it'll be interesting to see who he goes with there. Um, I personally think I would go with Boston Scott because I don't think Howard plays, in which case I think the Eagles running back is probably the better bet. Um, and then outside that, Penny has been incredible and he's got a great matchup against Detroit. I think he's got a pretty solid team here to put up a pretty good game here. Um, not sure if the Eagles are the best play against Washington, but um, it's defense is always tricky.
Yeah, I was a little bit. I'm like a little bit worried about people think that Philly's just gonna roll over Washington after Washington played so bad and Philly dominated New York. Uh, like Heineke was like playing like a week after he basically couldn't, he could barely like walk up the stairs. He said. So I'm
Yeah,
not really sure he's gonna be. They're just gonna roll over and die here. And Philly's not. I mean, they're a good team, but they're not dominant in any way. I don't really think. My other question about the team, besides Connor, is I'm surprised he's putting in Jacoby Myers a little bit. It's something about the New England offense. I could just see them just trying to run the ball and just win the game against Jacksonville and
Yeah,
play it sort of safe. And I after seeing like what I guess the Bengals been doing and Boyd having a couple really good games. I mean, the past 4 weeks he's been pretty solid. I'm surprised he hasn't been like a little bit more in, but I can see the looking for the downturn and then Kansas City maybe their offense or their defense locking down the Bengals a little bit more. But that would be like the one thing where I would be thinking about that before, or even Sanders. Honestly, I don't think Sanders has done
I
anything
don't
recently, but
I don't think Sanders would be the right pivot.
yeah,
Boyd's interesting because the past 2 weeks has been on a big touchdown. He just kind of broke out in the middle of the field, which could happen again because I mean that Cincinnati offense is so much fun. Like when Boyd is the fourth option on the team, like it's hard to cover. Like he's the perfect number two receiver, and he's the number
yeah,
like four target. um, but it's gonna be tough to it's definitely gonna be tough to overcome Lestrange's team. Like Nixon's gonna be solid. Uh, Chubb will get his, and so will Eckler. Um, but at the same time, like none of those running backs right there have amazing matchups this week. Like that Pittsburgh Cleveland game, I think the last time it was played was like 10-7 or something, and it wasn't like a great game.
yeah. It's Monday night, Pittsburgh in Heinz Field, Big Ben's last game. Like they're gonna show out.
Yeah, yeah, the last game he played against Pittsburgh, he had 7.4 points, no touchdown, and I could see that happening again. Um, and then Eckler against Denver. Denver's defense has been incredible. Um, so I think that there's a chance there that I don't think they'll completely shut him down. How do you do against them in their first game? 18 points. So had a good game. The thing with Eckler is he can just get it done with running and passing. So I think he's pretty safe there. And then Waddle and Debo, I expect, will both have amazing, probably 20-point games this week. So that'll be tough to overcome. But at the same time, Devontae Adams will match at least one of them.
Yeah, that's the thing with Nick P's team is just Kelsey and Adams just making up for a lot of the rest of the team. The one thing I was looking at also with Nick P's team is I wouldn't rule out playing three running backs, throwing Green in on the other receiver, or even just keeping Myers and going Stevenson as another Stevenson with Scott if Connor's out. Just because
I'm not
Stevenson coming back, they're going to run the ball a lot. It's an interesting idea to float around, but I mean, he's got a lot of weird options. He's got a very strange team, but
I would
um,
definitely say uh, if Connor is active, I think I put Boston Scott in over AJ Green or Myers with Jordan. If Jordan Howard's out and James Conner is in, I would make sure that Boston Scott is still in my lineup.
yeah,
Um,
especially if Howard's out.
yeah, I don't. I think I would probably stay clear of playing Foreman as much as like he's been getting a lot of touches there. Um,
That defense is
just
tough.
just because Miami's defense has been absolutely incredible lately. Um, they're also like the first team in NFL history to have. Oh yeah, they're number one in stop. Miami's number one in stopping the run the past 5 weeks. Granted, one of those was a bye. Oh my God. Here's the fantasy finishes on running backs that played against Miami going back 31, 28, bye, 19, 27, 22, 28, 27, 26. So I would definitely not play Deontay Foreman this week.
Yeah, and it's weird. He's getting a lot of touches, but his snap count is crazy low for a starting
Yeah.
running back. Um, but I mean, there's not a lot more to say about Connor's team. The only weakness I really see is tight end. Um,
Yeah. But I think Foster Moreau is a pretty good play against Indianapolis this week.
yeah, Foster always kind of shows up every once in a while with a touchdown, and if Waller's still out, it's a good play. But Tampa Bay defense I really
Fuller's on
like going
IR, so
against. Yeah, uh, Tampa Bay against the Jets. Tampa Bay's been blitzing a lot this year, and Zach Wilson is dreadful against the blitz. So they could get a good amount of turnovers. So that might be a big play and could be a little bit of a difference here. I'm not sure what else is on the waiver in terms of defense. I see Seattle versus Detroit. I'm not really sure if I trust Seattle defense at all. But
no, but there's some other plays out there. I was looking. I think I saw Carolina against the Saints. I think might be a decent play. Giants against Chicago is not a bad play. Um,
LA versus Baltimore, depending on who's the QB, might not be a
yeah,
terrible
if
play.
Huntley's out there, Huntley is coming off the COVID list and might be struggling a little bit, so not wanting to run as quite as much, and you might throw the ball a little bit more, which means more turnovers.
Yeah, just depending on how much he practices will be like an idea to see whether like how good Huntley might be. Because Huntley has been surprising people, but if he only has like a couple days of practice, I haven't checked, but it could be a something to explore. Um, yeah, but I mean, they got some. It's funny seeing Mahomes versus Josh Allen and some of these like huge plays. I mean, we're seeing like both teams that just have like crazy stars in their team, and then also just show some randos. But do
Yeah,
you have a team you're leaning towards?
I am. I'm leaning towards Nick P for the upset. I think having the combination of Josh Allen, Devontae Adams, Kelsey, and Rashad Penny, which is weird to say Rashad Penny, but Rashad Penny. I think all four of those guys have a chance at being number one at their position this week. Whereas I really only see a ceiling play for two of Connor's players. I'm gonna go with the upside on those four players over Lestrange for the upset. And the Nick P back-to-back championships. Don't have to move the trophy.
Yeah. Well, my gut is saying Nick P, but my head's saying Lestrange. And because you're going with Nick P, I'm gonna go with Lestrange. But this is a pretty crazy matchup. And just like regardless, I mean Nick P just like a crazy performance despite losing so much. It's interesting to look on like his strategy and like just really relying on top guys in your position to sort of lead your team and just constantly moving and rotating players in, and then also getting lucky with James Conner a little bit. But
Also, there's a good chance that this game comes all the way down to the final game on Monday night with Nick Chubb.
yeah, so it could be a wild finish. So anything else you want to comment on?
I don't think I have anything else. Go Chris Gregg in the other league. Um,
Oh, in the money league.
yeah, in the money league, go Chris Gregg. I'm rooting for you to knock off Brett. I don't think any of us want
Ooh,
to see Brett win again.
no, yeah, that's
Granted, if you want to pull up that matchup, it is a very David versus Goliath situation,
yeah. I was
and
gonna
if
say I don't have a lot of confidence in the.
no, it's uh Chris should not be in the championship, but he is. Um, and
Oh my God,
yeah,
Timensky. Okay,
um,
let's see.
yeah. I talked to Chris earlier today. This does look like it's going to be his final starting lineup. Um,
Yikes.
so yeah, it looks pretty brutal.
I mean, maybe Cordell Patterson goes off. That's kind of what
Maybe,
you gotta
but
hope for, and Justin Jefferson. But there's
yeah,
no
but
Kirk Cousins, so that's
no
brutal.
Kirk Cousins, and Cordell Patterson has been struggling the past few weeks.
And Buffalo is not easy.
Yeah.
Braxton Berrios. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm pulling for you, Greg, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's disappointing. So we're both limping through into the new year. We will see you guys in a recap. We'll do some longer podcast, I think, like in a week or two, um, just to recap the year and look over everything. But we're signing off for now. Happy New Year, everyone. We're both just getting through it right now. Anything else you want to bring up?
Nope.
All right. See you guys.